for the nerds. This is for the brainiacs. This what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back. You ain't gonna touch me. You not gonna do nothing. You are not above me. I bet you wish you was me. I know it. I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, I'm here with my only friends, and that includes the champ. What's poppin', baby?
Oh man, I'm the champ for good now?
Nah, you got like 2 more days.
Oh shit.
You got like 2 more days. You had 2 more days. That shit's over. That shit's over now, but it was fun. Good run.
Let me have my week, man. I'm still waiting for that Pat McAfee appearance, you know? He got this week off because he just had a kid. I slid in those DMs. I said, hey man, congratulations. You know, your life's about to change for the better. Godspeed. You know, just hoping maybe he'd see it, realize he still follows me, go to the timeline, be like, what is cooking with this kid? Look at this $1 million win. Maybe we should get him on the show.
Oh, wow. Look at him trying to shoot his shot over there.
I'm shooting it.
He muted you like 3 weeks ago.
I'm Danny DeVito. Probably did. There's probably a lot of accuracy to that. Welcome back to the studio, Jeff. We appreciate you.
Good to be here. I've missed you guys over these last couple weeks. I see Conrad everywhere I go, but
he follows you around like a little puppy dog.
Maybe that's what it is. Or he just plays every single poker tournament that is going on.
Right. If you're at a poker tournament, Conrad will be there.
Right. It's most likely that you'll see him.
I'm really struggling to see what we pay him for.
I mean, you know,
for that intro, Burke. You pay him for that intro.
You know, and I get like a quarterly time. I have to take a couple weeks off and go on the road, but you know. I'm not promoting. I don't know what you're talking about. For someone what you pay me for. I am promoting.
For someone
How dare you?
With a big goddamn tab. You're on the road an awful lot.
How dare you? I am promoting in the streets.
All right, well, let's get some merch and have you start selling out of the back of the car or something.
Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping hoodies now for sale. Let's go.
What's popping with you, Hanks?
Oh, I'm popping over here as well. I mean, I got the kids running around like crazy. Gearing up, buddy. Just gearing up for the World Series of Poker right around the corner. But the first stop is Houston with my man Jeff Platt over there.
Yeah, you tried to talk me into going.
And?
I don't think I can do it, man. The thing is, like, I know this is a weird angle to take, but it's the same exact game that I can get at like literally Justin Young is going, Marcus is going. These are guys I play with every single day. And it's not like I enjoy Jungle's company, but he's not exactly someone I want to fly 2,000 miles to play with.
Sure.
So it's like if it were, I know this is dumb to say, but like if it were bigger, I would be more inclined. But I know Helmuth. I know how he likes to run his show, and Godspeed, more power to him. I've just spent 60 days with a blowhard, and I don't know that I can do 4 more.
Is Bill Perkins playing in your Bellagio game?
Is he playing in the Houston game?
I think he's going to be playing in the Houston game.
Yeah,
Is Penzo Don in the Bellagio game?
Oh, great question by Brent Hanks.
He is at times. Me and Penzo, we go way back. You know,
Is there a live stream at the Bellagio game so the good people and the fans at home can tune in and actually watch you play?
Wow.
I know that's enticing for you, but I don't know if you've heard my stance at all recently. I'm not exactly trying to get out in the thick of it anymore.
Is there a relationship to foster for a brand new property in Texas that you know maybe you could start growing in?
I love the guys at Champions. I'm very close with Isaac, who's like one of the main guys there opening it. He's a really good dude. Shout out to Isaac.
So it sounds like you're in.
I'll be in the future.
Back.
I'll be in the future.
He's back. We got him back, Jeff.
Honestly, this was my deciding factor. And I know that this is very small, but how convenient would it be for us to take the podcast on the road and do it from Houston? And his was not very. You know, like it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of shit. Lamanna's got a wife.
Yeah.
I was going to play too. But...
Conrad, you know, then I have to front 5-10 buy-ins for Conrad.
Whoa.
You're really sinking me here, Hanks.
We have a tournament academy coming up.
I'm still trying to get you there,
yeah.
I was going until you torpedoed me.
Well, how did I torpedo you?
I said I had to be here for the podcast, and I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, you did just take 2 weeks off to, you know, go lose yourself in Reno.
And Florida.
Florida's an excusable trip.
But imagine bringing Phil Hellmuth on the Only Friends podcast live from Houston, Texas. Brent Hanks, how's that sound to you?
My God, I think we should make it. They're going to have cameras down there. Well, you don't need the whole staging and set.
I'll tell you what,
figure out a
man.
way.
You figure out a way to get a set and a proper setup there, and I will strongly consider.
Mm.
Wow.
Well, why don't they? You could just
You
do it
have my
right
word.
from the poker table, right on set there, before they go live, and
That's- we tried that with WPT.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Didn't-
First day was good, right?
Yeah, it went really well. We missed the show totally, and then we were back in studio the following day. It's not totally out of the question. I'll consider. We do have an academy the
All right.
following week.
I'm not going to take your name off the list. I'll keep it there just for fun.
Okay, I appreciate that. We do have a tournament academy the following week, the 24th to the 27th. I think we only have a couple seats left as we sold another one today. If you guys are interested in that, head to solveforwhy.io. It's a 4-day academy. Sorry, academy.solveforwhy.io. 4-day academy led by Matt Hunt. We'll take you through all the phases of the MTTs. Day 1 will be like early phase all the way down to day 4, which everybody will play a final table. If you're looking to get geared up for the WSOP, this is it. This is the one to do it on. So hope to see you guys all in a couple weeks there. We also have Brent, you hear what we're gonna do for our members? This is a fun one. We're gonna give away our tag team seats to 5 lucky members that are members of our YouTube channel. So we're gonna do a drawing. When is the tag team event?
Good question.
Jeff
find
would
out.
I gotcha.
very good at that.
I gotcha. Got the schedule all laid out here. Tag team at day 1, Thursday, June 22nd.
Okay. So it looks like we'll do. How much time do we think? A week seems about right. Give them about a week's notice to get their asses out here.
10
days maybe?
Maybe 10 days, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in the June 10th to 12th range.
You have
we'll
to be a
announce
member, not just subscriber.
That's right.
Have to be a
you
member.
You got to give us $2 or whatever
I
the
think
fuck
it's
it costs.
I think it's
$5.
$4.99. It's like it's like buying a lottery ticket.
It is. And if you accidentally get
Best
stuck
damn
with
lottery
me,
in the
it's-
world.
Well, depends who you get.
Oh, so you're going to be you're each going to be
Right.
teaming up.
Yeah,
with-
yeah.
Oh, that is
Yes.
fantastic.
And then they get to choose who they want.
How do you
I
how
think,
do you draft out of all this between me, Conrad, Lamanna, Matt Hunt, Landon?
I think you do it live on the podcast.
Yeah.
And
no,
so
no,
you
no,
have
I'm asking you have your first pick.
First pick. Who do you go with?
Wait,
Wow.
there's no guapo in there?
Oh yeah,
Lot of
Guapo too.
pressure.
Sorry,
in there?
this
Yeah.
is-
Jesus.
my
He
bad,
didn't say
my bad.
guapo? I thought he
No,
said
I
guapo.
said
the
Hunt.
disrespect, Guapo.
They don't take tortillas at the cake.
Well, Conrad has
I
the
appreciate
tournament
the invite.
experience.
There's a clear answer here.
Landon has, of course,
That's
the
not it.
solvers. You can't have Landon as your partner in the tag team event. It's too much fun.
It's
It's
you
like
know-
Christian wearing the headphones during tag team. You can't
It's
do
truly
that.
incredible that my Hendon mob is probably double all the other 5 combined.
But it's not Berkey.
I bet it is.
No, I'm saying it's not. You're not the first pick.
Oh, I don't even think I'm like top 3.
It is not. What do you have?
maybe.
4.3?
Yeah.
I have 5. Hunt has 6 or 550. Landon has 1 million.
No.
It doesn't?
No.
$1 million.
How much does
He's
Landon
only
have?
been
Around
allowed
you?
to play tournaments for the last
Dude,
6 months or so.
Yeah.
I'm getting flashbacks of like when everybody had to pick teams for kickball. I think I'm just fucked on this one.
You're not last. You're not last. Not in the tag team event, Guapo.
All right.
No? You think it's a tortoise?
No, the tortoise isn't.
Wait. So it's just between.
I think
Guapo and
there are tiers, and the 3 guys who I'm closest to are in the top tier.
Okay.
Just for
Yeah.
the amount of fun
Here.
that they can have. You know,
I mean-
I think you'd be miserable during like a
I'm going to
15-hour
play
day
my small
one.
blind.
Here's the thing. The three.
I'm going to play my small blind.
Minimum requirement.
Listen,
and you're out.
Hunt is number 1. He is the master when it comes to MTTs.
No, you can't
Yes.
pick Hunt
No,
number
you
one in
can't.
the tag
Well,
team.
Mo-
event.
If
party.
you're looking to win, you pick Hunt.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it looks to win
Right.
the tag team. You just gotta have fun.
Just have fun. I mean, if you want to have fun, I
Ask
mean,
Corey.
it's the thing is, Hunt is fun.
He's British.
He's British, yeah.
yeah, but
Depends on
when
what
he's
you're
sitting
into,
down
right?
at a
If you're into
table,
like, if you're into like true crime and like fantasy shows and
Listen,
and
man, the
politics,
only shot
he's
that
gonna
that's
be,
going
he's
to if
be a
you
lot
get
of fun.
Hunt to do a shoe bomb, that's the only chance you've got.
Now we're talking.
Other than that, you're not having fun.
Now we're up in the stakes.
All right, Brian.
Yeah.
Whoever's playing with me is wearing a matching mariachi outfit.
See?
That's so fucking
Yeah.
racist, man.
Stop.
Whoever's with me is wearing a matching tortoise outfit.
Whoever's with me is playing the whole time.
Well, same with Berkey. Yeah.
Well, no, it's different. I will come and I'll give moral support and a little coaching from the rail. Conrad will play 4 other birds that day, and he'll be there by dinner to tap in.
Right. Well, I'll give some great jokes at dinner.
When I'm not playing, I'm going to be railing my partner getting drunk the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah, the tortoise will be there the
I'm going to
entire
rail the
time.
whole time.
As a matter of fact, Lamada and Guapo should probably be wanting to.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, we're going to
They'll
have a
definitely
good
bring the
old
party.
time. Yeah.
Brent, who you partner with? You and Jeff again?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, we do.
What do you mean? I'm
Well,
sure.
how many
Like,
do? 2
I'm
years?
sure. I
Yeah,
have
like
to think
maybe,
about it.
I don't know,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
the 2 of us. We're back. We finished 27th back in 2021. I'm sure you guys all remember that. A lot of people are talking about it. We played really well.
Great run.
And then we'll bounce back this year.
I've only ever played the tag team once.
With who?
It was myself. I think it was when you could sell 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was myself, Marley, Matt Hunt, and Christian. I played exactly 1 hand and flew to San Francisco.
Just in case you have similar plans, this year you have to play around, I believe.
Who tracks this?
Nobody.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
You sign a card when you sit down, you play a blind, and you get the fuck out of there. So what do you guys have planned for your schedule? Hanks, are you going to play?
Yeah, definitely going to play.
The only time of the year he plays.
No work?
I'm going to, I'll work. I do a lot of that. We have some fun stuff lined up for content that we're going to do for World Series that we have yet to announce. Obviously, we're doing a bunch of shows. I think there's 47 days of streaming that
Okay.
includes a bunch of final tables, day 1s, day 2s, and day 3s.
You get those lady events in there, or women's events.
Yeah, ladies event will be on the calendar.
All right,
for sure.
let's go.
Absolutely.
People have spoken.
They didn't do us any favors with the time of the year that it's scheduled again.
They
during
never
this-
do.
It's right around the main, and that's a pain.
Yep.
But we got it all situated. It's going to be good to go. But no, it's going to be fun, man. We have some. Oh man, I don't have a contract signed yet with a couple people. They're going to work for us, but we're going to be partying, man, at the World Series. We got 2 guys coming in that are going to create some fun shit.
All right.
Like
and
to
I'll
hear
play
that.
a handful of events, including the main, and we'll hopefully, make a final table or 2.
And Brent, can I reveal like our schedule, our working schedule, or a little bit of it?
Yeah, for sure.
Brent, Hanks, and I are on the call of the $250,000 super high roller final table
Wow.
at the World Series
Okay, that's
on
big
June
time
18th.
shit right
That's
there.
back-to-back years for us at
Yeah.
the 250K.
They've really made PokerGo's made a statement. They said we don't want any of this nerd talk.
Nope.
Bring in the clown show.
Bring in the no gamble to the
Bring in the
future
guns.
guys for the
Yeah.
250K.
Right. Are you gonna have you gonna bring in the Wheel of Pain for the players?
I'm sure they love that one.
Spice that
You know, the Wheel of
250K
Pain
up a
will
little
be there.
bit. Let's go.
Is it
Listen,
mayonnaise?
the Wheel of Pain will be there.
paste? Wait, what?
The
Sorry,
Wheel
go
of
ahead.
Pain will be inside the PokerGo booth. I'm not kidding. Like the
I
merch
believe
store.
you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I believe you. I don't look forward to it, but I believe you.
I've also got sidelines for the 25K Six Max, 25K Heads Up Championship, 25K High Roller, 50K High Roller in the first week and a half.
So I'll see you there.
Pumped.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
Conrad.
really do love your sideline bit. I know it's not a bit, but I don't know what else to refer to it
I
as.
love it too. It's my favorite time of the year is
Yeah.
sideline reporting at the World Series, especially for the main.
I like
it's
it
top notch.
until I bust and you say, "Hey, Conrad." Fuck, Jeff. I just punted.
Guapo, did you happen to see that young tortoise image that was floating around?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah.
Young Tort.
Wow.
Let's see if I can find
I
that.
think
That
it's
was
on-
That was Tortoise in
It's
the
on
main.
Conrad's profile.
Tortoise in the main. Yeah, it's
that
definitely on mine.
was tortoise. That was tortoise in the main back in the day. I think it was 2012.
I
7 years
was
ago?
gonna guess 13, so that seems about right.
Yeah, it was day 3. I was at the table with Mormon and Ben Lamb.
saw this, yeah.
Ended up being my deepest finish. I think I made day 5 like 140th or something, 140 something. Yeah, there it is. Yes, look at that with the Leroy Towns
Oh my.
jersey on, almost cleanly shaved, but not quite, and just
A young tort.
just folding away.
Nice fold.
I 8-7,
How many times have you cashed the main?
5, maybe 4 or 5 times. 4
Okay.
or 5 times, something like that. Yeah.
Have you
Out of,
ever not made day 2?
I've never not made day 2 in 15 tries.
That is a good indicator that you cannot win the
No, it's just hard to bust day one.
Fuck you.
How many times have you busted day one?
I've only ever
Made day two once.
No. I've only ever busted beyond day one twice where I didn't cash, and those 2 times, one I like soft bubbled, and the other one I was like 40 out of the money. So like soft bubble, I mean I was like 3 or 4 hours away from cashing, and the other one I was like we were gonna be hand for hand soon.
Yeah. Conrad, Hanks, how many day ones of the main have you guys busted?
I have played the main twice.
Okay.
And I've cashed both times.
Yeah. Now that's a cash rate.
Got like 700th and 150th.
Brent Hanks?
Played the main every year since 2007 or
94.
8. No, 2008. And I think I've busted day one 3 times.
No, you played 2007, right? That was the year
No, he did not. No, he did not, because I did not play 2007.
I also didn't play 2007.
We were out there grinding, and then we looked at each other. We were like, "Do we want to play the main?" We're like, "I don't know. Let's just take a flight to Outer Banks and see his family," and just completely missed the main and just went and partied at Outer Banks.
Yeah, we all got a room at the Rio. That was the only year I didn't play as well. We all got a room at the Rio. That was the year that you and Randall Lynn came back from the strip club at like 7:00 in the morning.
Wow.
And Randall was telling us how his pinky smelled like the stripper's asshole.
My God.
Damn, dude. Keep those in the vault. Holy shit.
It's a late night pod.
Yeah, it is a late night
Come
pod.
on.
Yeah.
This is what the people came for. You know, we're getting warmed up for the Twitter Spaces tonight. You know, got Eden Rock snoring on the mic.
Oh my God. Jesus. Brent and I actually played together on a day 3. Was it a day 3, Brent? 2 or 3? Remember that?
When was that?
Oh man, it was probably like, I want to say 13 or 14. I think we were still living together because it was like like roommates at the same table with still like thousands of people left in the tournament. Pretty wild.
We didn't get any coverage, did we?
A little bit, yeah. I think like
no camera crew though.
No, probably not a lot of like
no Jeff Platt.
Yeah,
No
Jeff Platt was there.
Watching Jeff Platt.
He would, yeah.
Platt was making a run that year, so they were watching. They're keeping an eye on this guy.
It's true. True. Don't mean to brag. Yep.
I go back and forth so much with the series getting close. Like, played cash today, had such a good time, nice 6-hour session, book a big win, come here, do the pod. Like, everything's life is in order, you know? And then I just think about the old days when the World Series was the biggest thing to happen all year round, and it represented like an opportunity to make like 80% of your bottom line for the year. I'm like, man, I should make a bracelet bet.
Yeah.
Because that seems like the dumbest thing on earth to do.
That's the only thing that's going to get you to the tables.
Honestly, there's a lot of truth to that.
So, Berkey, if a sportsbook was setting a line, number of tournaments, number of World Series of Poker events Matt Berkey plays, what would the number be?
With or without a bracelet bet?
Without,
yeah.
Without a bracelet bet, I think 12 is a very good line.
I think that's a good line too.
Okay.
I said 11.
Yeah, I think
that's not nothing.
That's a decent amount. I mean,
yeah, but like,
12 plus probably multiple bullets. You're looking at like 50 bullets probably out of 12.
well,
1 or 2 day
I'm
twos.
saying-
You're playing 14 days.
I'm saying 12, but like also understanding that there's a good chance I could play like, 3 and almost no chance that I would play 20.
I mean,
Yeah.
the way it comes in really is if you have cast seats all the time. If you have a cast game seat,
Yeah.
sure, but
It's
like,
gonna
if
be
you
really
don't-
hard.
If you don't, you'll just be playing the 3K 6.
Well, the other thing is the game starts early, so there is a lot of opportunity to like play cash
And
and
then
then just
go-
max
Yeah.
leverage everything. But I have to tell you, I did that mostly all the events last year except the 6 maxes, and I never stood a fucking chance.
Yeah, Deeb yelled at you for it.
He's right. I mean, he is right. Like, but the thing is, a lot of the structures have changed so much. Where I think my point's pretty valid too.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that did show up to on time, it's like they're 40-minute level day ones. You start with 100 big blinds or whatever. It's hard to build beyond the pace of the structure. So like, you're just kind of building to make day 2. Where in the past, you didn't start with that many chips, but the levels were long. So if you went on a rush early or you just got a really soft table and played well, ran well, you could just amass like 200 blinds by dinner, and everybody around you is just like fucked.
Sitting on 20, yeah.
Yeah, and you just like somehow managed to maintain like 100 bigs from like start to finish and just run it coast to coast. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just being the cash game guy complaining about like not wanting to learn how to navigate a 3 big blind stack better, like Matt Hunt.
The 3
You know
big blind
who's
stacks
not
are
a
easy.
cash game guy?
Who? Everyone
Daniel
else here?
Negreanu, who is in the chat watching this very podcast. So shout out D-Nex. He's
What
going
up,
to win all
D-Nex?
these.
What's up, D-Nex?
I put him on the thumbnail one fucking time, and all of a sudden he shows up. We've been the hottest show on earth for the last 3 weeks. No D-Negs, but man, you get the middle finger on the thumbnail, and here he is. He's getting warmed up for the spaces tonight too. He's an addict. He's like the elder. What do they call it? Like in a tribe, like the wise elder or whatever. He comes into the spaces and he just
Patriarch
he just like listens to everybody shouting for a minute, and he just goes, "Gentlemen,
Guys.
gentlemen." From an old sage once named Real Kid Poker, I'm here to tell you, conflict is not the way. Go the way of the Buddhist. Eat your veggies.
Perfect.
Are any of you doing bracelet bets?
No, I mean, I would play like 6 or 7 events, even if I was playing
Call.
60, I think.
You're playing over 6.
I can't.
He's gotta
It's hard to fit.
100 to win
We'll
what?
find a
Hard to
way.
fit.
What are you giving me?
You?
100 to win what?
Just going to be in all the massive field, no limit events.
I mean, well, it's weird because I know you're going to play a ton of bracelet events, but I also know that you're going to play like twice as many events off property. So that kind of makes your odds steeper. I think a fair price for you is like 35 to 1.
35 to 1. What were you searching for yourself last year?
I wanted 20 to 1, and I thought I was taking the worst of it by a long shot. Like, don't think that there was any chance I was going to win bracelet 5% of the time. But I also wanted online to count. I think like if online doesn't count, then a more appropriate price is probably like, I don't know, 30, like I said, 30, 35 to 1. Like, I only play no limit. I don't play the high rollers, and it's fucking hard to win a goddamn bracelet.
You left out. I'm a mixed game professional.
Shut up. I don't care. You can still have 35, buddy.
Thanks.
would you play the World Series 25Ks if you had a bracelet bet, or would it matter how much that bracelet bet is?
Yeah, it would matter how much I got down, I think. I did play the 25K last year. I put 2 bullets into it, as a matter of fact. And I took way too much of myself because it was that soft. I actually busted to a man who will not be there this year. One Mr. I'ma Steal Your Bitch. Runs so fucking good.
I thought you were talking about Duhamel.
Oh, he won't be there either?
I don't know. Will he? That's where I thought you were headed.
No. I was going with the people that I know for sure.
Could you imagine if Duhamel didn't do that to you? How much better your life could be?
Well,
do you think about this?
Well, I mean, would it be better? I would have folded to Matt Affleck, so maybe I don't win the main. You know,
that's true.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have YOLO'd it with jacks when I think the man has aces.
Very good point.
You know, we might be looking at the McMotto School of Poker right now for all we fucking know. Who knows? He was destined to win that thing, man. He was such a fucking beast back then too. He's the one who should really be asking.
A Dasani water deal or something, you know?
for throwing the water bottle? Yeah.
Such a redemption story.
Yeah.
Matt Affleck is like, he's one of the guys who just like understands how to play these massive field events.
Sure.
He's a Joe McKeon type.
Right. He'll be in there like in the Colossus, and he's just going to be top 100. Like he's going to find a way to navigate through like 20,000 people. He does it all the time. It's wild.
He's an animal.
Yeah,
he's so good at navigating.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little note. I'm talking to D-Negs on the side. He's cooking dinner right now. Shout out.
Let him cook.
Let him cook.
And let's cook. He made a very good point. He said, "What Ali's playing? Why do you think he's not playing? He played last year."
I know he played last year, but I was of the impression that the PokerGo ban had led to the WSOP pushing them out as well. But I could be wrong. I thought that was like quietly announced behind the scenes, but I could be very wrong. I guess we'll find out.
Man, unless it's very quiet where I don't even know about that, that is not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I have relative confidence that he's been banned from WSOP.com, and usually that carries over to live. But again, I'm speculating, so I don't want to talk out of my ass.
And didn't they just move to Austin? It'd be weird timing. to plan on being in Vegas for the World Series for a month and a half in June.
Yeah.
But then move a couple weeks.
Yeah,
before.
and also, there's a lot of things. There's big events going on in ACR, and he has his 12 accounts on there that he needs to fire. He can't leave those unattended.
I don't
Got to
know
play all his horses' final tables.
I don't know if
whatnot.
it's true that if you're banned from WSOP.com, you're also banned from live.
I don't necessarily know that it's always the case, but
Okay.
I think that that tends to be their.
Because I know for 100%.
Seems like it should be in this case.
I know 100% for sure if you're banned from WSOP in New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
you're fine for WSOP Nevada and
Well, it depends what you're banned for,
okay.
right? Like, you're banned for, cheating or money laundering. You're
No.
probably not gonna.
There was nothing like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of reasons to get soft banned or whatever. Like, people open Zoom, especially during the pandemic. Like, one of the big things is just like third-party software. So it's like that could easily lead to a ban, but they're probably not going to enforce elsewhere. But whenever when you're out there just running the RTAs and getting us for all of it, maybe that carries over. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll find out. It'll certainly be a story. If they show up, that'll be news to me.
I mean, I kind of hope they play just for the sake of Twitter Spaces at night.
I hope they try to play and get the EPT treatment of like, no.
So they show up.
No.
Get my
Sir, you're not welcome here. Please.
And
exit stage left.
if they do play, just like hire somebody to just walk behind them everywhere they go and just go, shame.
Who was at
shame.
Who was at his table last year that was just like berating him?
Well,
the
Dan Smith
entire
went at
time?
him pretty good in the main
last
year.
Yeah. It was prior to that though. It was a prelim like Deeb.
Okay.
Maybe it was Deeb.
Could have been.
I can't remember, but I remember reading on Twitter somebody was like just trolling him the entire time. He just had his headphones on, like trying to let it fly. Speaking of Daniel, you guys had High Stakes Duel yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
He came out victorious over one I Am Maverick, Eric Persson, and he exited. So now what?
Good question. Didn't see the exit. This stuff happens. It's sort of out of our control when life happens and business happens, and there's nothing you can do to play and fit a schedule that we are we're just limited to when we can film this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You got to move on. So Persson is out. He's got some personal stuff and business stuff that he's out for, and now we are open to the public. That got announced today on PokerGo's Twitter. 30 days between now and June 7th. Anyone that steps forward publicly on Twitter, social media, reaches out to me, Maury, somebody at PokerGo, expresses interest, wants to play. We're going to go through that whole list, and then we'll select who we think would be the best opponent for the sake of entertainment and for the sake of matchup for Daniel Negreanu.
So how did that process work? Because I'm sure somebody has reached out at this point. It's obviously not first come, first serve. How long do you guys take to like curate the list before you start to parse it down to potential candidates?
I mean, we'll have an idea. Even out of the people that I've seen so far, I already know who I'd want to play right now. But you have to keep it open really for the duration of 30 days. One, it's in the rules. And two, what's stopping someone from Mr. Beast seeing it last minute and saying, hey, I want to play? And of course, if that were to happen, you're going to play, Jimmy. We're going to get Mr. Beast in there. So, we take the full 30 days. We'll have a list kind of going in who we like, who we're keeping an eye on. And then once that time is up, I'll reach out to the person that we want in there, make sure that they're serious, make sure they get the money escrowed to Aria, deposited on time. And then once it's there in the account, we set the date, we film it, and we go.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I thought the 30 days was like the money had to be fronted. So if somebody chimes in like day 29, you obviously give them a couple of days grace in order to get the money wired or whatever.
Yeah, so a good example would be against Jason Kuhn. When he beat Helmuth for 1.6 million, we had a couple people that wanted to play Kuhn, one of which was very serious and was trying to do all they could to move the money, but they just couldn't get it there. I mean, they had 10 days to get 1.6 million to the Aria in their account, deposited, whatever it is, and they just could not figure out a way to do it. So once that clock expired, and it's also fair for Daniel, it's also fair for Jason Kuhn in that instance, we can't be forgiving and say, we'll give you an extra 3 or 4 days.
Right, yeah.
You can't do it because that's just how it works. If they need to win, it's got to be fair and square. We got to follow the rules to a T. So, for the 100K price point for this 200K round 2 match, that's not going to be an issue. The 100K is a lot different than 1.6 million. So right now for us, it's just a matter of who's going to be the most entertaining, I think, at this point, challenger for Daniel, and who do we think the fans are really going to appreciate the most?
Are there any leading popular votes out there that people are clamoring to see?
It's always the usual. In fact, I haven't even gone through the full tweet that PokerGo put out earlier, but I'd be willing to bet that Tony G's name is thrown out there a million times.
Sure.
Phil Ivey's name's going to be out there a million times. Helmuth, people probably looking for redemption.
I saw a lot of Matt Berkey.
Berkey.
Yeah, Berkey's very popular on Twitter now.
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to study sit and go heads up, man. I really don't. Like, honestly, maybe it would be the best thing that could happen to me because it would prepare me for actual tournament play, but I would be a very sizable dog versus Daniel in this match. Maybe. If I could get like a ton of side action down where I'm like getting 1.5 to 1 or some shit. I'm just trying to get all the side action, man. If anybody wants to lay me a price on a bracelet bet this year, or give me some good odds to play Daniel heads up and sit and go. Give me a reason. Like, fuck around and find out. That's what I'm saying. I'm freshly rich.
I saw a great name in the Twitter replies, Brent. I'm sure you saw this. Sam Soverall, which I wouldn't have thought of him at first, but based on what we know of him and the way he acts, at least when the cameras are not on him, I just think the entertainment value would be so high in a match between he and Negreanu. So that's my favorite out of the ones that I've seen mentioned.
It's not
on
live
Twitter
streamed,
so far.
correct?
Well, we usually film it a day before and then air it the next day, just in case we need to make any quick edits. But we haven't
got time.
Yeah, I was going to say with Soverall, you're going to need time to cut out most of the table talk, I assume.
Yeah, although I will say in the past during the Helmuth Stampede, we had live where we're on like a 2-hour delay sort of thing. So that's happened before, very similar to our cash games. But yeah, Soverall will be great. I love seeing some of these PGT high rollers come out and want to get involved. They rarely get an opportunity outside of the PGT tour and these tournaments to really shine and show us what they've got as far as personality. Once in a while, they'll play on high stakes poker, no gamble, no future. But even in a cash game climate with politics these days, it's very difficult to give these guys seats.
How much is the free roll in the PGT up top? 1
million is the guaranteed prize pool. There's going to be probably 50 people in it. Top 40 qualifiers and 10 dream seats.
What are the right. And then it's just winner take all?
No, not this year.
Last year we did winner take all 500K. This year I believe we're paying out the top 6. Don't quote me there. In first place, I'm certain is 500,000, and then we tier down.
Yeah. Maybe you could like give them an option, right? So like maybe the winner of that event could opt into a slot in the high stakes duel comparable to that money amount. Like maybe the 400 level or the 600, whatever it works out to be. I don't know how. I guess it keeps doubling, right? So it goes from 2 to 4 to 8. So maybe they can like win a place into the 400 slot if they so choose to take it. Otherwise, they can just keep the cash.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah,
I only say that because like they're never going to get chosen off of a list anytime that there's more fun players involved.
Well, not necessarily. Jason Kuhn won the PGT championship last year, and he's the reigning high stakes duel champion.
Yeah, but he came in at the 800 level.
He did, and I think that's where you'll see the killers really, because the list becomes so narrow that once you reach a certain price point, only a few people are actually going to post 800,000, 400, 800, 1.6 million. And I think when we envisioned this show, that's what we thought would happen. Is we'd reach these levels, these rounds where the Christophs, the Limitless, the Wichters, the Kuhns, that's when they were going to get involved, when the money was so high that it was out of reach for so many others that, okay, let's bring in the best of the best. You're going to play Helmuth, Negreanu, whoever has won at that point all the way. And let's see two of the greatest go at it.
It's so scary too because obviously it's a very high variance match, and like the Kuhn Helmuth matchup, there was no shot Jason was ever getting a rematch if he lost. Right? Like, I mean, and that's not even a slight against Helmuth. Like, if you win that match, you just have to exit. Like, no way you want to play another match. You've won your way out. You know, and that's big money.
Yeah. I mean, Kuhn was out. And as we know in that last one, or maybe you weren't familiar with this, if Helmuth had won, it was over, I believe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was over.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a one and done situation for both players. Obviously, Helmuth is out; he's cashing out, and for Kuhn, I think it was exactly what happened. Is sort of what we anticipated as well, where we might get 2, 3, 4 people at most that show interest that want to play Jason Kuhn. And the reality is they might not get the money up. And when push comes to shove, they just won't get 1.6 million posted on time. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I jokingly during that time was saying like, oh, I'll sell my house to play Helmuth in this format. But like, even if I thought I was a favorite against Phil, I would never ever accept the match because then I have to play a 1.6 million.
Yeah.
Like, I would for sure get offers at 1.6 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, whether it's Kuhn or somebody else, like somebody will scrape together the money to be a big favorite versus me.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, this is
thanks.
this is terrible. Like, you have to win a high variance spot to just ultimately end up putting your money back up at risk and get whacked the next round anyway.
And Brent, rules are different this time around, right? So if Negreanu wins the first two, it's over. He's the champ.
That's it. That's exactly right. Which for high stakes duels 1, 2, and 3, you had to win 3 consecutive matches, rounds 1, 2, 3, in order to cash out, which Helmuth did against Antonio and against Daniel. So that's the only reason it ended in 1, 2, 3 matches. Starting with round 4, in the previous high stakes duels, you had to win consecutive matches. So we made a shift for this one in particular going forward. You now only have to win consecutive matches, bang, bang, and you can cash out. But you also only get 1 rematch, and that's different as well. Previously, you had 2 rematches that you were able to use as an option. You had to use them right away. You couldn't sit on a rematch and hope to come in later, while you had 1 in your pocket. You have to use it right away the following match. So those are 2 big changes. I think that ultimately for the fans, you want to see a lot of back and forth so that those rounds continue to escalate. And we'll test it. Maybe if we get too many, like it's over in 3 rounds, it's over in 4 rounds, then we can revert back to that old strategy. But this is sort of our line of thinking for high stakes duel going forward.
Does he have to opt out after 2 wins?
If Daniel were to win, he could certainly play and stay and play. My assumption is he's going to cash out, because then you got to win. We're going to bring in somebody else, right? And then you got to win. I think we'll have to go back and look at the rules again, but I think you got to win 2 more. So if you opt out of your cash out, it resets. The rounds continue, but you still have to now win 2 consecutive again. So I think you'd
so you'd have to win the 200 and the 400 level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That could get dicey.
And I don't know
which man. He likes a
challenge. You don't know who we're gonna pick. I mean, do you really want to sit around and
we're talking
wait
about
for Kuhn?
We're talking about Daniel fucking Negreanu, man. Yeah. This is Kid Poker himself. He is the face of the industry. He's here to fuck around and find out.
If anybody's going to keep going,
I think
it'd be
plays.
Negreanu.
I think if it doesn't interfere with the series, and I don't know what his years looked like thus far, I think the man's in there. I think he's in the mix.
That'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty baller.
Yeah, I think he wants to avenge these heads-up losses that he's kind of been taking. He lost to Helmuth twice, right?
3 times.
3 times.
3 times?
In a row. 3 straight.
3 straight. Yeah. Well, all he had to do was put them all in when he had the 6-4. All he had to do.
Oh, in that first match?
Very first match, Helmuth had 9s, and it came like 7-4-4 or some shit. Left him
There's
with
there's no chance that he keeps playing. Just no chance.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, no chance.
No
he says.
chance.
No chance.
Brent says
he's cashing
no
out.
shot. Cashing out, he says.
Mm-hmm.
Setting up a little retirement fund.
He gets to take home this giant belt that's half his body weight.
The belt is sick.
Put it on his mantle.
Yeah.
And he's a high stakes duel champion. And it's very likely we'd start him again in the next duel.
I was just going to ask, so you think he'd
Negreanu.
start High Stakes Duel 5?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. But he doesn't want these marshmallows, man. he's not looking to start the next round with Eric Persson again. You know, he wants the world beaters. Bring on Victor.
We'll see when he gets done making his his tofu burgers or whatever he's doing. We'll see if he chimes in chat.
Poor D-Negs, man. I'm just setting him up versus the world. Like, no, he's an end bot, right? I heard Polk's coming in at the 400 level. They have history.
Polk will never. You know what though? I hope it changes, but Polk is on record multiple times, including face-to-face with me and Maury at the studio when we were filming. He'll never play the format, High Stakes Duel.
It's not very favorable for what he's an expert in, I don't think. Yeah. I'm surprised Olivier Bousquet hasn't thrown his hat in the ring. This was like his forte for a decade.
You know, he did back in, I think it was High Stakes Duel 1, but we never had a chance to bring anyone in.
Yeah, right.
So,
the 6 rematches in a row.
Lose. Yeah. So I would say he's still there, although, I mean, maybe a lot has changed since we started that show, but I'd love to see Olivier Bousquet show some interest and want to get in the ring.
Yeah, it's an interesting format. I always want to it's funny because I find it riveting to watch, but it's just not one that I personally would ever want to play. It doesn't, man, I'm really talking myself out of playing a lot of World Series events. That's just so abundantly clear. Like, you know how nice it is to just like raise 8-9 suited, get 3-bet, and just know that you're always calling because you just you just are, as opposed to like, you know, raising king queen off to 2 big blinds and then facing a 5 big blind 3-bet and then sitting there going, okay, I have 27 big blinds.
You're gonna be in there.
Oh, I don't know, man. This is dicey.
Can't resist.
I can't.
You say this every year, and you always blast.
Yeah,
every year. You do it every single year. You've done this for 10 years straight.
I haven't played a full schedule in quite some time. It's been
not a full schedule, but you're playing at least 10 events. That's pretty full.
Yeah,
I've seen it for like 4 years. It just happens every single time, right before WSOP. Actually, I take that back. The first year, he was a happy person going into WSOP. Every single other year.
I got fucking whacked. I got absolutely whacked. 2018, I don't think I cashed anything. It was the year we did the vlogumentary. I got fucking diced up. I chip led the main event after day 1. I chip led the main event, or I was like top 3 in chips coming out of day 2, and I soft bubbled. I finished like 40 out of the money.
Yeah,
it was goddamn awful.
You had a ton of chips in whatever event I interviewed you for when I was working for Poker News.
That was 2017, yeah.
2018.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's
oh, okay, I
2018.
cashed
It
that.
was one of the Millie Makers or
yeah,
Monster
I was wearing this
Stacks
shirt.
Oh wow, I watched that clip a few times.
Well, I had it as my Twitter profile pic for a long time. Yeah, I did final table that, right? No, I don't
know.
I did.
We chatted like maybe mid day 2 on one of these.
Yeah.
Trying to look it up. Let's see. Yeah. The double stack, 24th for 22K.
Okay, yep. That's what happened.
I finished 4th in that event in 2021. Not about me though.
I got a lot of 4th place finishes too, Jeff.
Yes, you do. Yes,
Fourths,
a lot of thirds, a lot of
seconds.
fifths.
No, not too many
sixths.
seconds.
I don't have very many. I have 0 ninths actually. 0 eighths, 2 sevenths, a lot of fifths. A lot of 4ths and 3rds.
How many World Series of final tables do you have?
I think 13.
You have 13 final tables at the World Series of Poker?
Yeah,
Some are
I
online,
think 3
right?
are online.
Yeah. But still, so like
Oh.
10
That's
live.
count.
really good.
Yeah, but I don't win any. So give me my goddamn odds. What kind of price up can I get? Bro, what do you do? I'm terrible. Just ask Lynn G. Like if she were in my shoes, she would expect a lot more success, okay?
Right.
Yeah, this guy's never folding 9-8. How can he win?
That is true. That is true.
Good point.
That's what gets me there, though.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be resilient, Tortoise.
I know. Well, you know, the thing is, like, yeah, you get to play the 9-8, but also, like, in tournaments, you just get to, like, jam, like, Queen Jack sometimes and realize all your equity.
I don't know how to do that. I see 3.
What?
Let's play nice, guys. You know, let's see 3. Maybe I flop some overs in a gut shot, and then I'll be comfortable sticking my money in the middle.
Nah. I mean, you only got 12 blinds. What are you going to do?
Peel.
12 blinds is plenty.
Peel.
It is plenty.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the past few weeks, I guess, and probably the last conversation we'll have on this now that it's finally come to an end. So the heads-up match concluded on Sunday, as has been widely reported. I don't know if you guys heard. You've been out of town.
I was in Reno. What happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard. Actually, I guess it was on Saturday. I officially have ended the match with
congratulations.
Airball. Thank
I
you.
did
Appreciate that.
Just so happened to see
quit.
that, yes.
Yep, I hung him up. couldn't take it anymore. He was making it way too tough on me. So yeah, that came to a conclusion. Didn't really know what to expect as far as the aftermath goes. I had a few people reach out, like a few high stakes guys I'm friends with, say like, how are you feeling? I know after a big win for me, like I tend to feel a big lull thereafter. And I was like, I don't think so. I'm pretty happy it's done. Pretty proud of my accomplishments. But I woke up today and I was just like, what am I even living for? What's the purpose of this all? There's nothing left. But no, I kind of get it. Like the dopamine wears off and you don't have this thing that you're just like focused on anymore. And it kind of did fall back into like, I'm happy I have a routine because I don't really know what I would have done if I just had like free reign of like, okay, you wake up at X time and your entire day is yours. I would have lost my mind. I was just like, fuck me. Like, what am I going to do? Study heads up? I don't want to do that. That seems like a waste of time now. So yeah, I mean, like, I was able to get back into the cash streets today, play a little ring. That was fun. And Airball took back to the felt again today. He made his return to Hustler Live. Did a little interview with Billy DJAF. And I have to say, I was watching the interview in real time, and I wasn't sure what direction it was going to take. I've known Billy forever. I've known him since 2008. And, he kind of like initially started the interview with like, what brought all this on? And Nick went the route of, I was pretty frustrated and upset about the Jack 4 coverage. I felt like we were painted in a negative light. And I was just like, I hated Berkey. And, I called him a scammer, and maybe those weren't the right words. But then he kind of like backtracked a little. He was like, I'm sorry for saying the word scammer. He's definitely not a scammer, but there are a lot of things that I do feel confident about, like that I should hold him in negative light or whatever. You all right?
Yeah, we're good.
You got to flip over the barbecue.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like I got a roast in the smoker.
I wish I did.
So I was just like, okay, yeah, whatever. That's kind of fair. Don't care one way or the other that much. And Billy kind of pulled at that thread a little bit more, where they went on this back and forth conversation of just like how unfair of a light he feels HCL has been painted in, like how reflective it is over the good people that work there and everything else. And I couldn't help myself. Like I just had to leave a comment on the video because I think what's getting like, I don't know, maybe lost, but I feel like what is being thrown at me as disdain for the way that we covered the entire scandal or whatever is that I had an axe to grind with HCL, or that like I wanted to see their business collapse or something like that. And more importantly, that I was targeting the people who work there. When in fact, the reality was that everything I was saying was just like true. The security was very flawed and quite compromised. And as a byproduct of that, everybody who worked there got called into question. And I don't necessarily know that that's fair or unfair. And I'm sure it was an awful time for everyone who was a part of the show. But, the responsibility still lies on the stream house at the end of the day. Like, if there weren't all these compromised things for the internet to dive into, then, it would have been an open and shut type of thing where it's just like, look, we know that we're protected. We know there was no means of cheating. And we're all going to move on from this. Like, we're going to put a statement out. We're all going to move on from this. So I guess like it was nice to hear their side of things of why they have so much disdain for me. And I understand it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I definitely understand it. And I think that carried over to the apology that Nick put out on Twitter, which I greatly appreciated. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But in short, it's long, but in short, he basically said like he's relatively new to high stakes. He is sorry for calling me a scammer, and there's a lot of like growth within the whole process of having gone through this, having played the heads up match, and having kind of suffered defeat at the hands of me or variants or everything in between. And I think that takes a pretty big person considering like where we started and where we ended. I got asked immediately after the match, like, you know, how are you two now? Are you guys friendly? And I just kind of said like, no. I mean, for a lot of people, I think that they respect people who can like put their money where their mouth is, sit down and pony up with the gamble. And for me, it's like, it's not really about that. That means nothing to me. I think that like when you're in this world long enough, you see enough characters come through that haven't really acquired the funds through all that savory of a means. You know, like they tend to be a little bit shady. Like Dennis Blyden comes to mind, where it's like this guy's wailing around for the better part of a year, and then we find out he embezzled $30 million from his company. It's like, okay, well, you know, am I supposed to respect the fact that he ponied up the money to sit with me, that kind of thing? So I think like as a seasoned pro, that's not where respect generates from, right? Respect comes from like seeing how people interact with staff, seeing how they treat their competition. Are they good winners? Are they sore losers? That type of stuff. And I will say that throughout the course of the match, like I've said this multiple times, there's like two sides to Airball. And I think the most genuine one is not the heel that he was attempting to play. Like him turning face when all this is said and done isn't that shocking to me, because I would see him just show these glimmers of just being a genuinely nice, kind person. And it seemed to almost be a reflex. Like, you know, a new dealer would come in and he'd forget to give her the time or whatever. And he would immediately just apologize for it. Like that was just the instinct. Like, I'm sorry. He tripped over my phone cord and like he just immediately apologized. And when I see that, it's like, okay, like I think that this is who you probably genuinely are. What's with the shtick? And, you know, listening to the interview with DGAF, it kind of seemed like he felt like some sort of responsibility to Hustler, to his crew, to the quote unquote family or whatever, to kind of go out there and defend their honor. And, you know, that type of loyalty, I have a lot of respect for that. I think that, you know, there's a time and a place. Maybe going about it a little bit differently would have yielded better results for their camp at least. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just wanted to, I don't really know where I'm going with this. I just kind of wanted to acknowledge that I think he's a much bigger person now that things are over and done with, and kind of coming forward and retracting some of the negative things that he said than I believed him to be when we first started. Like, we're definitely good now, like, as far as I'm concerned.
When I read his statement initially on Twitter, I did think it was great. But of course, you know, not knowing him at all, not being around him at all, thought it had the potential to be fake, or somebody next to him was like, hey, you should say this is going to make you look good, et cetera, et cetera. But when I read your tweet on top of it, it made me lean towards, hey, what his statement was genuine. It was real, because you have spent so much time around him. And so if anybody's going to know if that was real or fake, I think it's you. So that was my main takeaway from all this.
Yeah, that's what Berkey said too. Like he said that, but like a lot of, I guess, you know, and it was like hard to tell at the time too. It was like Nick's, you know, inner circle or people that have been around Nick also said, you know, he's a genuine guy. He's a nice guy. He's like just a delight to be around. So like, yeah, maybe that is the true Nick that we didn't see from this side because of, you know, the character he was playing or what have you.
Yeah, I think if you set them side by side, like his apology and Doug's apology, I think everybody's right to be skeptical of both because of what led to each of them, right? Yeah. Like it's some level of public humiliation that encouraged both of these apologies. Had I gotten waxed in this match, I doubt we would have seen a retraction of the scammer bit, but maybe we would have. I don't know. I don't want to like call his credibility into question here. But the point is, like, if you put those two apologies side by side, one reads as like a very emotional, like from the heart type of apology. The other one reads as like a letterhead that was almost written by somebody who like writes copy like this for a living. And to me, that's like the easiest way to tell how genuine someone is. And to your point, you know, it's like when you do see these glimmers of his guard kind of be linked down a bit, reading something like that is a lot more of like the unguarded version, at least from my perspective. So I think that did make a lot of sense. That I don't really question the validity of it. I think he truly is, you know, regretful with some of the words that he chose, and maybe even getting involved in Heads Up to begin with, because it doesn't sound like he had very much fun.
Yeah,
which I can understand. Heads Up is a different animal, man. It's not fun to sit there and try to determine like how you're supposed to play all of these different textures that you've already learned how to play whenever your range is a third the size, or a tenth the size, depending on how tight you play.
Doesn't seem like you make many hands.
Heads up.
Seems difficult.
Well, you do make hands. They're just the worst hands are better.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all.
That's true. Yeah.
All of a sudden,
this is amazing.
Yeah, King High is good. Like, it's a good hand.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking. That was the first thing that I noticed. Like week 1 when I was studying, I was just like astonished at what we were calling river width in some spots.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I would get destroyed if I like. There are spots in ring games where I'm like trying to convince myself to fold top pair versus a single bet because these motherfuckers just always have it. And like I'm looking at these heads up sims and it's just like, oh, queen high? No, that's like a really good hand here. They're just printing in this spot with this type of hand. So yeah, I mean it's definitely a different animal. God bless him. I don't think we're gonna see him and G-Man play anytime soon though, based off
Probably not.
Doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't seem like a profitable endeavor. Garrett has actually played heads up before, lots of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was his whole thing coming up. So
I was trying hard to make that happen.
Of course he is.
I'd actually like to know what Garrett's. Has he said anything public about that apology?
About the apology?
Regarding the apology?
No, I don't think so. But he's been very public about feeling a bit slighted by. I mean, you have to remember, like, all of the focus was on the fact that Airball called me a scammer, but that was like a 90-second clip from that podcast. The other 89 minutes was Airball pretty much just like throwing and raking Garrett over the coals. And it's kind of weird because, it is one of those things. I know we were talking a little bit off air and we can kind of get into it a little now, Brent. But it is like one of those things where there's obviously politics to high stakes games. And depending on how well you control the narrative or how loose you are with the details, you can paint a pretty ugly picture for almost anybody who's involved in the political side of things. So it's like when Airball comes out and he kind of just like airs all the dirty laundry of what went into creating those lineups and what Garrett's involvement was. It's like he could only be telling partial truths and it would just like make Garrett look absolutely awful. And it also makes it very difficult to fully refute, right? Like, did Garrett have a ranking system? Probably not. But like, did he communicate to Ryan people that he would rather play with than not play with? Probably. They had a working relationship for 3 years and the guy's a game runner. Like, I'm almost certain that that's true. And I imagine that like, you could apply that same mode of thinking to pretty much everything that was exposed with regard to Garrett. And the issue is that the people who can defend him aren't incentivized to. So you're not going to hear Ryan come out and like disqualify anything that Airball said because Airball's now in the position to play the game and be the face and kind of like build the momentum behind. Same thing with like Vertucci. He's not going to come out and back Garrett's side because like, we heard it kind of shake out in spaces. I don't know if you've been following since you've been on the road, but these Twitter spaces are fucking lit, buddy.
Yeah,
Stay away.
So I've heard.
Remember what you were doing during the pandemic with like the runs to the final table of the bracelet events? Yeah. It's like that without the poker.
Right.
We're just skipping the poker and we're cutting straight to the chase. Like, who's got some fucking tea for us tonight? Yeah. And yeah, like there was a point where Feldman came on the mic. I think it was Dankness's space. Pretty sure it was. And Keating and Garrett also had an open mic. And, it started with Garrett just basically saying, like, I helped build Hustler to become what it is as much as anybody else. And the first opportunity to show disloyalty to me, it seems as though that's the option that you guys chose. And, he kind of fluffed it up as best he could, saying, like, look, I understand you're in a compromising position. I understand you have the hardest job in the world, but, like, what gives, man? Like, your partner basically said, I'm banned from the stream forever kind of thing. And I have my opinions, obviously, on the whole thing. But I think the more interesting conversation outside of my opinion is just like, what does this look like from the outside looking in? Like for you guys as, kind of just the audience watching without much knowledge of the politics of all this, like, what does this look like to you? Is Garrett slighted or is Ryan just kind of like, hey man, this is my business,
I think that I'll jump in here because I do a lot of what Ryan does for PokerGo, obviously building a lot of the games and whatnot. Something was really unique with, at least to me, for Live at the Bike when Ryan was there, and the creation and G-Man was born, right? That this is where this guy started to take off, which then moved over to Hustler once whatever happened with Live at the Bike, that debacle took its course. I don't know. I can't remember a time, perhaps dating back maybe as far to pre-Black Friday, where you're building games around the superstar. It is completely the opposite of what typically I'm doing for high stakes poker, no gamble, no future. You have to have a balance, and you're often trying to get your VIPs in the game and then putting a light placement of a couple stars, professionals in the game as well, because that's just the nature of how the game, if you will, has changed. Private games are everywhere. VIPs have a much larger voice now than they've ever had before. And they don't have to play on your show because they've got a great game inside. They can literally walk inside Aria, play at table one, and they're going to get whatever game that they want in there. And they don't necessarily always care or ever care about the cameras being on. So that to me is very unique because G-Man was the star and the game was built around him. And that, I think, really changed a lot. And I think that's what Nick Bertucci and Ryan Feldman started to see is they're starting to use their VIP players and bringing in some of these other characters, the pros, guys like Mariano, I don't even know who else they are, Andy Stacks, whoever else these pros are that are out there in LA. It shifted. And I see it both ways where I understood what Garrett was saying. And he said something along the lines that I thought was a little too much, but I can't understand the personal relationship that Garrett and Feldman have or had because I don't know them well enough. But he said something like, Ryan, where would you even be, if it wasn't for me, basically?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you be where you are? And I thought that was, from my perspective, like, man, that's pretty harsh. And that's, I don't know if that's the right way to look at it because the reality is it goes both ways. Who would G-Man be, known to YouTube, known to all these fans, without the cameras rolling, without that initial those live streams at Live at the Bike, which then happened at Hustler?
But that is
what created G-Man.
Yeah. As slight pushback to that, though, who stands to benefit more from that mutually beneficial relationship? Ryan and Hustler growing to what they've grown to, or G-Man growing to the public figure that he is now?
Yeah, well, it's a great question, but if I had to measure it, I'd measure it in two ways. One, you are a well-known household name. You're a superstar of the game right now. That is G-Man. That wasn't a thing before this. And two,
agreed.
Somewhere someone tracked the millions upon millions of dollars that Garrett won on these shows.
Right.
So he won a ton of money and he became a superstar over the course of 2, 3, 4 years, whatever that took. And it seems pretty fair to me. G-Man got what, sort of he wanted, and Ryan got what he wanted, and he's got a great show and he's got a production out there 5 days a week at Hustler. And business is business. Could he have handled it, a little differently? When I'm talking about Ryan, yeah, sure. Maybe we give the guy a phone call if he's a close friend or a personal friend on top of, an integral part of the show. But I'm sure they both have their regrets in many ways. I'm sure G-Man, although not public with it, at least not that from what I've heard on the spaces, I'm sure he regrets the way he handled the Robbie situation to some extent. And I'm sure we haven't heard or seen the end of that. It sounds like there's new evidence that's, on its way. Could there be arbitration that's coming to settle that $135K? Who knows? Only time will tell. And that's up to Garrett really to decide on what road he wants to take and what course of action he wants to take.
Yeah, I think that those are all really good points. And I think you're right. I think that maybe what Garrett wanted acknowledgement for was that Live at the Bike was dying prior to Feldman kind of initiating the G-Man era, if you will. And that directly correlated to Hustler being able to launch. So I think that it's a fair argument for him to say that he was an integral part of both Live at the Bike resurging, ultimately leading to Hustler launching and becoming the biggest stream of all the independent stream houses. But I think your point is well taken, at least from my standpoint. If I were in Garrett's shoes, I think I would understand, or at least whether I would want to understand or not, I think subconsciously I would always know that my value was diminishing and there's always going to be an expiration date. So I do think that there's like a strong argument for Ryan to make of like, you've been well compensated throughout that time period where we all grew together. And I also think there's a strong counter argument for Garrett to make where it's just like, okay, well, I'm not asking for the world. Like, I'm just asking for, you know, a seat every now and again kind of thing. And unfortunately, I think because of the way that the paths were divided and split, mainly hinging on the Jack 4 drama and how every party chose to handle it, I don't think there's any repairing of this. I don't think that it benefits, and I know that like Garrett probably doesn't want to hear this, but I don't think it benefits any party of Hustler, Ryan, Vertucci, or or Garrett to be in business with one another ever again, right? Like there's such a black cloud hanging over that collective trio with what came of Jack 4 and the fact that the money was returned to Garrett, which, you know, obviously doesn't indict Robbie in any capacity, but it does still create doubt. And it's enough doubt for Garrett in his own mind to justify not returning the money. So long as both of those things remain true, I find it very difficult to see like how we're just, as a community or them as business partners, are all just going to bury this behind the shed and say like, okay, let's move on. Like we all see that there's a bigger picture here and we're just going to move forward and continue with regular production as usual. Like I can't imagine how that world exists. I
don't think it does. I think you're right. I mean, there's, you know, can Ryan Feldman and Garrett, you know, remain friends and are they still friends? Yeah, I think that could happen, you know, but Garrett will need to understand that, you know, he can't play in many games. You know, will we see him again? Yeah, I think it's inevitable. You know, he'll be back on a Hustler show at some point. I'd be willing to bet it's inside of a year's time. But it won't be the relationship that, you know, that they had before. But you know, that was listening to that Spaces that night. I was laying in bed at whatever God hour. I can't do Spaces, by the way, anymore. It's like they're torture, sort of addictive, man. And I got to turn it off, and I'm up way too late.
Turning it off's the hardest part because you just never know
right when you're gonna miss.
And I swear to God, every time I turn it off, like I like didn't tune into one the other night. I was just like, no, enough's enough. I'm cutting the fucking Spaces out of my life. And I immediately get a text from Dankness that like. I was away from my phone for like an hour and I look at my phone. He's like, bro, you got to get on Spaces. Vertucci's losing his fucking mind right now. The poker Karen came on. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I'm out. Like I can't, unless something ridiculous is happening or if Dank hits me up and asks me to, you know, to join, or if he's got, you know, that's just it. I can't do it anymore. And by the way, I love them. I like how some of these can be very thoughtful back and forth discourses and things being accomplished.
I feel like to some degree, it's like almost a continuation of what we do every day for the pod, except instead of it being like, you know, a host of friends like this, it's an open forum for the entire fucking community.
Yep. Well, I mean, the only thing you need really for your pod is a live number that people can call, and you just answer the calls.
Oh, I thought about this actually. Yeah. We could just fire a space up during the pod. And we could bring in speakers, like, but the only issue that I thought was like, we'd have to count on Guapo to like really do some due diligence and you know, click through the profile, make sure that it's not an alt account. And alt Rob Young got the stage the other day. He had like 2 followers.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh, it's not
Rob
the
Young,
real.
Come to the stage.
They're all excited. They're like, that's not the real one.
You're taking one of my World Series of Poker ideas that we're bringing out for the summer for the first week.
I love it. I think these community activities are fantastic. Like it feels like it's just moving the forums to a more digital space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but anyway, just to cap it off, I thought it was sort of unfair, but yet at the same time, I understood those two needed to have a conversation. And should it have been private before they talked openly in front of the poker world? Probably a little bit more appropriate, but. And I think it would have been easier for Ryan to maybe talk a little bit more truthfully and heartfelt and have a better conversation with Garrett, because he was really put on the spot. by both Garrett and Keating, who just came out of the left field with the haymaker, with the, he was hurt that he didn't get credit for the $1 million game. And
I think Keating being there really made it difficult for Ryan and Garrett to mince words. So I think we've gotten accustomed to people knowing when the cameras are on, when the mics are on, and kind of navigating the conversation in a very avoidant type of way, right? Where nothing ever really gets solved. They use specific language that's a little bit flowery. They give everybody compliment sandwiches, and the crux of the issue is never really addressed. Well, with Keating in there, just like coming off the top rope of like, Ryan, I don't care. I've lost $13 million in the last 9 months. Give me 1% of your company now. That kind of like opened the door for Garrett to come from the side and just be like, yeah, what the fuck, bro? Like, I helped build this thing too, And it did put Ryan in a weird spot.
It was very bizarre. I mean, it was. I did not see it going in that direction, but it did. I have no idea, but I think Hustler's got it sort of going now. I mean, they're the most overused word in the last fucking 2 weeks is they're cooking. Let's cook, and Hustler's out there cooking. They're going 5 days a week. They've got the YouTube back end, the algorithms figured out. Their YouTube is feeding them new fans every single day they go live for 10 hours a day, and they're in a really great place. You wouldn't even notice, I don't think, a difference in the people tuned in. Last Friday night, I think their concurrence was 16,000. Even if you threw a Keating in there or a Garrett in there, that number very likely to have changed. I mean, they're going to keep peaking and peaking and peaking. And unless you put, Daniel Negreanu on that show, who actually does bring in thousands of fans when they know he's going to play. And that's just the truth. And I can back that up. That's what it's going to take to really boost viewership on top of what they already have. I don't think those two guys are there. It's not that level.
I think the point you're really making is that it takes a specific event to ensure that they get the peak numbers, right? So like last Friday, it was the amount of money on the table. If you put a Daniel Negreanu in the lineup, it's a Daniel Negreanu. If you put Mr. Beast in the lineup, it's a Mr. Beast. If you say that it's $1 million buy-in, like that's going to do it. You know what I mean? Like there are some variables that they can always tinker with that will be a big enough draw that everybody will consider it must-see TV. Just doubling back to the Keating thing for a second, while all that was going on, I was like studying for the Airball match and just like kind of listening on the side. Keating called me, and it had to be like 4:00 in the morning at this point. And he calls me and he goes, "Hey, just friend to friend, should I sit this one out?" And I go, "Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely." He goes, "Okay." And then 3 seconds later, unmutes his mic. And he's like, "I lost $13 million last month. Like, where's my percentage of the company, Ryan? That's all I want to know." I'm like, Jesus Christ, that is not sitting this one out. Yeah, it was. It's must-see TV, man. I gotta tell you. I think that we should get rid of commentators altogether for these streams.
Nope.
And just open up space.
Nope.
Just run a live Twitter space.
Oh my God.
A watch party, if you will.
I'm way too scared of that because they probably do so well.
I know.
That terrifies me.
I know.
For my future.
Yeah. I'll host the next one. I think we just came on to an idea here, boys.
Let's delete this part of the podcast.
How do we get to monetize spaces? That's the real question.
It's tough. I don't know. Yeah.
Just
run ads in between. Run ads.
DM,
just like run.
DM Elon.
Yeah.
Hey, Elon, I have an idea for you, buddy. We're going to need some ad time here in this Twitter sphere.
You have to pay to talk.
No. That ruins the whole idea. Then we just have then it would just be Platt the whole time.
Yep.
If
it's okay, Burke.
Yeah.
And everybody, I am going to disconnect because my wife is screaming at the kids upstairs. It's bedtime and bath time. You guys can finish it off, do your thing, but I have to bounce or I'm in deep shit.
We're all leaving.
Well, that music behind you is actually our cue out of here, so your timing couldn't be any better.
Yep.
Big shout out to JJ for the super chat. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for that $50 super chat. You are the absolute man.
Thank you, sir.
We're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow with Strat Chat with Matt. I have to be honest. I had planned to review the biggest hands that we had played with Airball, but listening to the interview today, it sounded like there was a part of him that still thinks he's a favorite, and I'm not ruling out the opportunity to play him again in the future. So we're probably going to pull an audible and switch tomorrow's conversation. So I'm not really sure what strategy we're going to be talking about, but I can guarantee you this much. It won't be Heads Up Poker.
Let's talk MTTs.
MTTs, it's got to be. It's that season.
We will be back tomorrow, normal time, noon Pacific, with Matt Hunt. We'll be discussing all of the latest strategies for you and yours. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Brent and Jeff, for joining us as always. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Later, squad.
Peace.